Hey guys, so here we are, end of the week, and a bunch of you wanted a wrap of today in particular. And why today? Because over the course of the session, I had people say things to me like this is the most boring thing that they've ever done in their life, right? This day today, because we had this big news around the well, not really big news. You had consumer sentiment was off, and Jaimie Dimon had some things to say that sent the market spiraling. I guess it's hard to believe one person has that much impact, but I guess it can happen. So really, today was just a case of hurry up and wait, and all day long, all we were doing was waiting for things to get back to threshold levels, to get back to the lines, and show us where sort of safe entries were, as opposed to things that could lead to volatility. Over the course of the session, a bunch of people had, sort of comments that I thought were red flags. So I had somebody say, that they were long on the NQ from yesterday's price action, and they were racking up. Oh my God, now I'm down 10% or I'm down 15% on that trade. That's a bad way to approach trading in general. So it's bad enough if you've got somebody at an organization, at a trade desk or something, constantly telling you how much you're up or down. That's a disaster for trading. It's even worse if you're doing it to yourself. What you need to do is focus on the here and now, and just look at what's it going to take to take what's in front of me and make sense out of it. Because what you were down or what you were up does not matter in the least bit going forward. The only thing that kind of language can do is convince you that you make bad decisions, convince you that you make super decisions, right? Convince you that you're invincible, convince you that everything's about to go to hell. I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen to traders, and that is probably the worst of all of them. So the negative self-talk, the negative talk from people in your organization, people around you, that's going to really, really put a damper on your ability to trade. And the other side of it's true too. If you happen to be short going into the session today, just look at it and say, this was great. I had some good technical analysis. Things worked out the way I thought they would. Monday's another day. All right? So with that said, a little bit of psychology out of the way, let's take a look at the triple Qs first, and then at some of those trades that had you guys confused on the Magnificent Seven stocks, and see if we can't straighten that all out. So here's the charts. You see it here. We are looking at our QQQs. And over the course of the session, so if you're trading straight up Qs, this was an easy day, I think, to anticipate what was going to happen and sort of look at where the threshold levels were, because generally speaking, you're looking for it to be in the box, or I'm looking for it to be in the box, and that's really what happened right in here. It's a difficult day if you're trading the ES or you're trading the NQs. Because first off, right, if I'm trading the NQ, then really what I want is I want to see a reversal back up into here, especially if I'm looking to put on some sort of a position that has futures traders are very frequently concerned, as we all are, about the risk involved in a trade. It's a lot easier to get just punched right into the risk on a futures trade than it is on a triple Q trade. So if you're waiting for it to make a move back up here and then thinking you were going to short it, then you spent a whole lot of time today doing nothing. What we were focused on the QQQ was this range right here. And you can see there were three really good opportunities, plus one going into the close that you guys know that I'm not really looking at the closing bell, right? I don't like trading into the close because there's too many things that can happen in that last reversal period. So that like 345 reversal happens, and things can go and settle out in a way that's very different from what you're expecting, even when you have confluence like this, where you're coming into a volatility band. That overhead volatility, the thing that really turned me off to it was the fact that we had this spread. And when I told you guys in the room today, to focus on the increase in volatility, then really what I was saying was, look, just because we're out 2 standard deviations doesn't mean we're going to get this move back down into the mean. We did, but it's not a gimme, right? And you don't want to end up the day looking at something as if it was, oh my gosh, here's, I didn't take, I didn't take that one, I didn't take that one, I didn't take that one. Well, I'm going to catch this one, and then wind up having that one turn around and slap you. So, that's the triple Qs, and I think, what's obvious there is you had to wait until 1:30 Eastern time for that thing to really go and start trading in the box, and when it did, it gave you lots of opportunities. So let's take a look at our Mag 7 stocks. This was really where there was a lot of consternation, let's say, and a little bit of confusion maybe on the part of some traders. Got lots of questions about this stuff over the course of the day. And, it's okay to send me, private messages, and I will answer them privately so that, we're not putting everybody's thoughts out there all the time. It does get confusing, right? When too many people, you got too many chefs in the kitchen, and it gets difficult to figure out who's doing what. You can see it was the same pattern, though, as the day went on. If you waited for Amazon, for instance, to get into a trading range that was consistently tested and retested, you weren't looking at any trades until, well into the noon hour Eastern time. But over the course of the session, you had some really good opportunities to capitalize on what amounts to about a 60-cent move in the stock to the downside, right? So today was definitely a day that, you've got to be trading a margin-enabled account, because you are going to be shorting, because the trend in everything but Apple today really was lower, lower, and lower. So, given that it settled into that range late, what I found was we had a lot of people who were getting frustrated because they wanted to be in front of trades. They wanted to be in front of opportunities. Apple gave us a really good long right off the opening bell. And, that's hard to do too when you see that the markets are moving lower. And a couple of people say, it was really tough to take that arbitrage trade this morning. That's okay. You don't have to take every single trade, and you don't have to be in front of every opportunity. If it makes you that uncomfortable, if it makes you feel like, the whole day is just on pins and needles, because, well, then skip it and move on and look for something else. And there was plenty of something else over the course of the session. Apple, the bias on the trade for the session was really going to be to the long side. And that, for me, gave me enough of a pause to say, with the whole market selling off and Apple really the only thing for a long chunk of the day, that was the only stock that was positive, I was just going to pass on inflections on that one. But we did have good opportunities, again, if you waited. Look at Microsoft, right? Microsoft got into that late day trading range, and really from 422, about 15, the support and resistance line's a little higher than where the inflections were. If you were looking at that 422.15 level, even if you waited for the 422.30 level, you could see that the reversals were happening inside that trading range, and that they were really happening inside of this box right over here. So that was really good. The volume by price activity constrained a lot of what was going on over the course of the day. Sort of the bigger box, the smaller box here. All those things did exactly what you learned at boot camp. All those things did exactly what you should have been expecting them to do. The key was you couldn't get bored in here because and frustrated in here, because you saw these, this giant move, and there was just no way to get into it. And that's okay. If your logic is, I'm not going to hop on a train as it's leaving the station, I'm going to wait for the opportunity to arrive, and I'm going to get on while it's safe, then you really have to say, it doesn't matter if my trades don't start until this point in the day. It's not the case that if you're in front of your computer, you have to be doing something. Because remember, doing something could mean you're losing money, because losing money is also something. Tesla was the same deal. Tesla, we did have an early opportunity that I pointed out in the war room today, and that was with this inflection at the central pivot. That was a good one. If you caught it, great. If you didn't, there were lots and lots of opportunities when it got into the box. So when we got into our volatility bands, when we got into that support and resistance threshold, when we got into that volume by price stuff, and also into the VWAP, which isn't really on screen here, it all gave us really good indication that we had spots on the chart that we could go short as price came back into it. So if you were looking through your Income Trading Academy stuff, you're getting ready for the boot camp, and you're thinking about, why is he so focused on order flow? That's why I'm talking about order flow. AMD, this is why I'm talking about order flow. You can see where the order flow metrics are lining up. And if you're watching the tape and you're watching the volume by price and you're watching the anchored VWAP and the VWAP and all that stuff, then all of these things gave you lots and lots of reasons to hurry up and wait. And then, once you saw things testing and retesting, you're looking for the opportunity to pop in and out of those positions. They're not huge trades. NVIDIA was big, but of course NVIDIA is also almost $900 a share, so you're going to be cutting your share size there. You're probably not taking giant shares of NVIDIA. And some of these other guys, the moves are small, but so is the price. So you're increasing the share size, right? So it's think and rethink the logic and whatever is going on. And well, I know exactly what it is in some of your heads, right? You feel like you're missing opportunity when price is doing this kind of a thing to the upside or this kind of thing to the downside. And again, right, your reality is wait for the opportunity to come to you. Don't try to force it. What you want to do is be there, be alert, and just be ready for this stuff. And when this stuff over here is happening, don't sweat it. Just wait for the next one to come and get right up in front of you, and then you're going to survive, and you'll be here to talk about your trading at the next boot camp, right? You'll be going year over year over year and talking about the fact that you're actually making a living versus you're getting in there and you're looking for some adrenaline, and you want to get in front of each and every opportunity that that the market provides, and you feel like things are going wrong if you don't catch every trade. You're not going to catch every trade. Let me take the mystery out of this for you. You're going to lose money. There's times you're going to lose money. There's times you're going to make money. The only way to be consistent is not to let the winners get into your head, not to let the losers get into your head. There's no good days. There's no bad days. There's just days. If somebody's on you telling you how much you're up or down, you just tell them to shut up, because the important thing is that you understand that the war is right between your ears. I say this all the time. And if you keep that in mind and you stay aware of that and don't let other forces in, right? Just block that stuff out. You don't have to let people tell you things, and you definitely don't want to get to telling yourself things, right? Giving yourself a lot of negative feedback. Just focus on the positive, focus on what's going right, focus on what you know, focus on all that stuff from the Income Trading Academy, focus on all the stuff from the boot camp, and when we get to Miami Beach on June 2nd, we will all have some common ground to stand on, and we can work from there, and we can really push forward and get everybody on their game. All right, so you guys, that is it. I am happy with the day the week went, happy with the way the day went, happy with everything. You guys had some great questions. That's wonderful. And I'm going to see everybody here Monday at about 11:30 Eastern time. That's when we settle into the Monday trading. And in the interim, just go have a nice weekend with your family and enjoy some life. All right, have a great one.